Yo, today you get to see the 10 best crazy game modes according to the YouTube community post, as well as how my Discord server, the hypostein, and I rank those game modes. If you missed the worst 10 crazy game modes, I recommend checking out that one first, as I explain there how it works. Let's move to number 10 though now. Time flies. Finally, left side of the table. Here, phase duration is randomized. Sometimes days will last for what feels like an eternity, and sometimes you really have to make quick decisions within 8 seconds of nighttime or voting phase. This is the kind of thing I hope that custom games will get as well. But as a game mode, you rated it mid-table, I put it in 17, and the hypostein are really harsh here and called it the worst game mode of all. This is definitely a forgettable game mode, yes. Number 9. Fools. Fools is the kind of game mode that everyone puts in the middle somewhere. I never see true lovers of this game mode, barely anyone that hates it with a passion either, and it's actually not even that bland, unlike mandatory vote. It's just that you have 5 fools in the game, which does change the dynamic of the game, especially that of voting phases, but it makes the game feel slow. Despite there only being 6 villagers, they are all quite useful and strong. Yes, it will be hard to win as village, but with a good spirit seer and good kills from gunners and witches, you can get far, even as far as winning. The difference in the rankings isn't that significant here either. Hypostein puts it 12 and I have it 13. So can we all agree that this is a mid-table game mode? Number 8. Grave Robber Mayhem. To some extent we can say the same about Grave Robber Mayhem, although the difference is a bit bigger here. Grave Robber Mayhem is filled for 50% with grave robbers and you'd expect a very dynamic game mode, but it's actually not really. That's because grave robbers can also have each other as target. I think this game mode was better with 2 extra villagers instead of 2 grave robbers, and then an exclusion of grave robbers as grave robbers target, so that everyone can truly turn into a werewolf or useful villager. I'd argue it's an inferior team roulette, like red and blue. It ranks 14th for me. Hypostein has it in 15, so at least me and the Discord agreed pretty much. Number 7. Double Trouble. The first game mode that is somewhat popular everywhere but misses out on top 5 everywhere as well. Another game mode like Sandbox, but everyone is coupled. Anyone can win in this game mode pretty much, which I would define as a fun experience, and I think you as well looking at that placement. We can't disregard the flaws though, one of which is that when someone flees, a couple breaks, and then the player that is left is really weak, regardless of what team and role they have. This game mode is old and holds up well with a 7th spot on YouTube, an 8th spot in the hypostein and an 11th spot on my list. Number 6. Unleashed Elements. The YouTube top 5 is just too much for Unleashed Elements, a game mode that also includes RNG but not in the setup itself. No, instead you are playing on a sandbox setup with random weather effects each day. There are 7 of them to be exact, which I did put in a tier list in the past. More about specific weather types can be found there, but in general you can expect effects like a thunderstorm killing a random player to a heatwave skipping the whole discussion phase. I have great experiences playing this game mode, and so has the hypostein, as it ranks 3rd in the hypostein. For me, this even ranks 1st. Yes, I think Unleashed Elements is the best game mode. Partially because it suffers relatively little of the noob player base that you will play with. What I also really love about this game mode, of course, is that every end of the night you are excited or even nervous to find out the weather of the upcoming day. Sometimes you get crazy clutches or you get screwed really hard. Maybe it's just me being Dutch and seemingly obsessed with the weather, I don't know. Number 5. Roars. The top 5 kicks off with Roars. And that is the second crazy game mode on the whole list that I introduced back in 2019 as a tournament called Your Row Your Team. Initially I wasn't able to make teams mechanically work like it does right now in Roars, so the games would just end whenever werewolves or village won, and then I would count which row had the most living players and call them the winners. Now the game will end whenever 1 or 0 rows have living members, which creates a different dynamic. You ranked 5th, the hypohood, and I agreed on a 10th place here. Number 4, 25 players. This game mode is bound to be in the top and it shows. The name already suggests what it does. You are put in a game with 24 other players instead of just 15. That makes for a hectic experience as there are 9 more opponents than usual, and of course, that means more chatters, more keeping up to do, more potential chaos. The setup includes a few rules that can provide a lot of clarity, which makes this game mode more bearable for the casual players. It also does mean that the full potential that 25 players has, namely the ultimate challenge for pros, is far from existent. This game mode feels like a glorified quick game and hence I put it only 6th. The hypohood loves this game mode the most though and puts it in 1st. In custom games, I love this edition a lot more though, because players in my lobbies are much better than the average crazy game mode players, and it also allows me to have more viewers in my games during live streams. Speaking of, if you want to be part of my live streams, make sure to subscribe with notifications on, so you will be notified when I stream custom games with viewers, which could be you as soon as possible. Number 3. All random. For a very long time this was the community favorite game mode, but it has been overtaken recently. At least that is what the YouTube viewers think, since it sits no longer in 1st. And to be fair, all random is absolutely a very different experience than a fixed setup, since one moment you will be with 3 solo killers, 3 voting roles and 3 werewolves, whereas the next game could literally put you with only 1 werewolf. This game mode is the most random thing you can get, and it results in a lot of lovers and a couple haters too. I like myself random slots in games, though I prefer soft random slots like RVs, random werewolves and a random killer, etc. due to it being more of a puzzle in that way. Also, getting games with 8 werewolves is so boring after seeing it 3 times. So what do you get a 5th rank on my tier list and also from the hypohood? Number 2. Random categories. This is a new game mode that quickly rises to the top. It beat all random and with quite the margin too. So what is it that makes the game mode so good then? Well, it is a soft random setup executed well with team changers and whatnot. This game mode is dynamic and keeps elimination method relevant. An example game here included a sack leader, grave robber and instigator. Yes, this is a great game mode and I could play this for a while easily. It is thus not surprising that this game mode finished 3rd on my list and can truly compete with Unleashed Elements for me. In the hypohood it did well too, but with a 4th place it didn't get a medal. I can still not believe that the hypohood ranked this mode below red and blue. Number 1. Only Us. This might be recency bias, but Only Us has quickly conquered the hearts of the community and I wouldn't be surprised if this game mode will stay a community favorite for a while either. In Only Us, which is based off secret sources that I introduced to my channel back in November, you play with proximity chat. Only your neighbors will be able to read your messages, which creates chaos, planning and adds an extra layer to werewolf kills since you can isolate players. The execution is pretty great, though I prefer secret sources still, because that has private chats with only neighbors, instead of all your neighbors seeing all your messages. It also is what holds me back from putting Only Us in 1st place on my list, but with a 2nd place I can be really proud of this creation still. The hypohood has it in 6th. Anyways, what is your ranking and which of the 3 lists resembles most to yours? Let me know it in the comments. I expect that the YouTube community one looks most like yours, but if only a few of you think mine is closest to yours, then that would be truly epic. I am making noob versus pro crazy game mode comparisons video this year, by the way. If you want to be invited to the so-called pro lobbies, then add me in Wolvesville and then we can truly see how much potential all the game modes have. If you loved what you just saw, then make sure to check out this juicy video I have here for you. You can also subscribe and turn on epic notifications to never miss a future upload. My social links, including Discord server, are in the link tree. Link is in the description. I will see you later, and don't be a traitor.